This is the METS POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the New York Mets. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The Mets waste a great start from Nolan McLean as their bullpen, their defense, and their offense let them down in a 7-1 loss to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Welcome into the Mets Postcast live on the Locked On Mets and Locked On MLB YouTube channels. Tonight, you can listen to us in the Locked On Mets podcast feed. I'm your Postcast host, Chris Schubert, recapping all things New York Mets. It is a series loss for the Mets. Their offense disappears. Their bullpen hits the first bump in the road of the season, and the defense betrayed them in that seventh inning. That's where we'll start tonight on the Postcast. Today's Postcast brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. We start with the seventh inning and where it all went wrong tonight for the Mets.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Nolan McLean cruising along through the first 6+ innings of this one, having the Diamondbacks confused all night long. Got him to waste 2 ABS challenges early in this one. That's how off balance McLean had this Diamondbacks lineup. And then they got to the seventh inning. And after a walk to lead it off, Nolan McLean got to Del Castillo, struck him out swinging. And then after a Jose Fernandez single, Carlos Mendoza decided to go to the bullpen. He decided to go to one of the two best relievers that they've had out there all season in Luke Weaver. And for the first time all year, Luke Weaver gave it up. And he gave it up with some help or lack thereof from the defense. First, it was a Gabby Moreno ball hit to right field that Brett Baty couldn't get to. And look, we knew this time was going to come, right? There was going to be a moment at some point this season where Brett Baty in right field, Mark Vientos at first base, Bo Bichette at third, Jorge Polanco at first base. You knew that we were going to have a defense conversation at some point. And really, up until this point of the season, game 13, we haven't really had that conversation. There has not been a time where we've come on here and said the Mets lost the game because of their defense. Mets lost the game because they got Mark Vientos playing first base. They've got Brett Baty out there in right field. Bo Bichette's a shortstop that they made a third baseman, and he made a couple of errant throws. It cost them a run here, a run there, and they lost the game. We have yet to have that conversation so far this season. Well, now we are going to have that conversation because Brett Baty in right field, I don't know if Carson Bench gets to that ball. I don't know if Tyrone Taylor gets to that ball. I don't know if Jared Young gets to that ball. I don't know if Juan Soto gets to that ball. I don't know if Luis Robert gets to that ball. I don't know if a better defender gets to that ball. But it's just a bad look that Brett Baty couldn't really get close to that ball. And that just started what was a complete meltdown, an avalanche for the Mets there in that seventh inning. Now, I will say, I don't know if Baty gets to that ball. The next play, Mark Vientos just has to make. Like Mark Vientos, when he gets that fielder's choice, he sees the runner going on contact. He just has to make a good throw. And I'm sure many of you were like me watching this game. You got those flashbacks to 2015 in the World Series with Lucas Duda throwing the ball home. I mean, that's what I thought in the moment once I saw Vientos let go of the ball and it did not look like Luis Torrens was going to be able to get it and get a tag down. It took me right back to 2015 and the World Series with Lucas Duda throwing home in the World Series against Kansas City. Vientos has to make that play. Baty, a better defender might be able to get there. I don't know. I'm not going to crush Brett Baty for that play. But when you spend all offseason long as David Stearns talking about run prevention, we got to get better defensively. We can't give away runs the way we gave away runs last year. And now we have a game somewhat early on in the season where defense played a major role in an inning falling apart. The Moreno double ties the game. The Thomas ground out gives the Diamondbacks the 2-1 lead. And you know what? If Vientos goes home, makes that play, it's still tied. Maybe Luke Weaver's able to get out of it. The Mets are playing a close game. Maybe the Bats can do something. But it was a big 4-run inning for the Diamondbacks. They went up 4-1. And the Mets didn't have an answer in this one. And we'll talk about the offense as well. I do want to touch on, before we get out of here, the first block of the postcast. let's make sure we give credit where credit is due for Nolan McLean. And look, I'll say it. This is the next version of Jacob deGrom for the New York Mets. I mean, he just is. And tonight, it was very much a Jacob deGrom-like start. He went out there and dominated for 6+ innings and got zero or very little run support. I would say this was Nolan McLean's best start of the season. This was better than the 5 perfect last time out against San Francisco. This was his best start of the season. It was the deepest he went into a game this season, threw over 100 pitches in this one, and he had multiple pitches working. And the one in particular that I want to make sure we highlight, he had that front door sinker to the left-handed batters working perfectly. It was like he ran up to the plate and put it there on a tee. I mean, it was perfect the way he was starting that at guys' hips. He was running it in. He got Del Castillo on one, and they burned an ABS challenge on it. I mean, he was working that pitch to perfection. We also saw the nasty spin with the sweeper. We saw the curveball, but it was that sinker that really stood out to me tonight, that it was his put-away pitch. It was that go-to pitch where he needed, and the Diamondbacks loaded up their lineup with lefties to go up against him, and he had the perfect plan of attack. And I'm sorry, this is like watching Jacob deGrom pitch. I mean, it is dominant every time he goes out, even when things aren't working perfectly. Even when he doesn't have his grade A stuff, he's a gamer, he's a battler, he's going to find a way to get through 5, 6, even 7 innings and give the Mets a chance, and that's exactly what he did tonight. And it is a shame that he's going to have a loss on his record from this performance tonight, because he certainly didn't deserve it. Absolutely doesn't deserve a loss for how well he pitched in this game. And I did see a little bit on social media when Carlos Mendoza took him out there in that 7th inning and put Luke Weaver in, that there were some out there that wanted him to have a chance to face Moreno, to face Thomas, to try to get out of it. And I don't know if this was part of the calculation, but it was earlier this week where Freddie Peralta looked into the dugout and wanted another batter, and Carlos Mendoza gave him another batter, and he hit that batter. It was Gabby Moreno. We hit him, and that kind of allowed the inning to spiral. So I do wonder if, after what we saw earlier in the week, that Carlos Mendoza wasn't going to do that again. I know it's a different pitcher. You have to read the situations a little differently. But I think that may have played a role here. But McLean was great. He was dominant. I believe it was his best start of the season. And we are watching the Mets ace. And I know they brought Freddie Peralta over to be their ace. This is the guy. This is the guy that stops losing streaks. This is the guy that goes out there and dominates lineups, even the best lineups in the sport. This is the guy that, when he doesn't have his A or B stuff, is still able to compete and give you a chance to win. This is a guy you build your rotation around, and tonight was just another example of it. I mean, this guy is just absolutely incredible to start his big league career, and it is a reminder, 11 big league starts, 11. And he is doing this stuff already, where you get excited when his name comes up as the starting pitcher. You expect dominance. You expect greatness. And tonight he was great. And unfortunately, it comes in a loss because of the thing that we'll talk about next, because the offense, boy, it was missing. It was missing yesterday. It was missing again today. It has been a rough one the last couple of games for the New York Mets. We'll talk about the offense. We'll talk about Luis Robert being the only offense in this game. And then we'll get you ready for a series over the weekend against the A's. The NBA playoffs, they are here with where every possession matters, every matchup is magnified, and every game can swing a series. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a great way to get in on the action. You can bet just $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. The app makes it easy to follow the action, player stats, trends, and matchups all in one place. And during the playoffs, that extra insight really matters when you're looking at stars, role players, and key moments. It just makes the entire playoff experience more engaging from start to finish. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel, play your game. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position that you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Sponsor Jobs. Indeed Sponsor Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute that I have been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed. according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job, the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs.
Hey, this is Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds, and when it comes to our futures, we all have great ideas when it comes to our job, when it comes to our house, when it comes to our vehicles, all that great stuff. But honestly, when it comes to securing that future, I don't know what I don't know. And when me and my wife sat down to figure out the life insurance thing, Ethos made everything simple. Everything's online, you have a quick and easy application process, and you find out exactly what you need for coverage all in one spot. Ethos makes everything so convenient when it comes to learning about your own life insurance, because insurance is something that is far beyond batting average or on-base percentage. It's way out in left field for me. Ethos made it all easy. Take just 10 minutes and get covered today with life insurance through Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/lockedonmlb. That's ethos.com/lockedonmlb. Application times may vary and rates may vary.
Back here on the Mets Postcast, the Locked On Mets YouTube channel, the Locked On Mets podcast feed. Also tonight on the Locked On MLB YouTube channel, recapping a 7-1 loss for the New York Mets today to the Arizona Diamondbacks, dropping this series. If you want even more Mets talk, how about you join the Everydayer Club? If you never miss an episode, either the Postcast or Ryan every day in the podcast feed, time to make it official. Join the Locked On Everydayer Club. You get ad-free audio. You get access to the members-only Discord. I'm going to be in there all throughout the next couple of days, probably breaking down this Mets game and the just mistakes that were made aplenty in this one. It's all built for our most loyal fans. You can learn more. LockedOnPodcast.com/Everydayer Club. Okay. Well, we'll talk about the offense. Isn't really much to highlight. One run-scoring play. Luis Robert hitting a home run in that first inning, jumping the Mets out to a 1-0 lead. And just to make sure we don't forget to do it, Luis Robert has been the MVP of this lineup so far to start this season. I mean, he's been their most consistent player. He's been their best player offensively. We're still waiting for Francisco Lindor. It has just been a brutal start to the year for Francisco Lindor. I said in yesterday's postcast, I thought we were seeing a Bo Bichette breakouts, putting together some multi-hit games. He did have another one tonight, but it's still not what you expect when the Mets brought Bo Bichette over in free agency and signed him to that huge deal. Still waiting for that first home run, still waiting for that huge big day where he puts the team on his back, drives in a bunch of runs by himself, and is really one of the leaders of this offense. Still waiting for that. Jorge Polanco, out of the lineup. There may be an IL stint coming for him with that Achilles tendonitis. He's still not able to be at 100%. So haven't seen the bat break out there. Francisco Alvarez, it's the 2-home run game in San Francisco, great, but then it kind of dips into a little bit of a lull. The Mets are just not consistent enough as an offense. They have these games where they break out, and they certainly did it a couple of times over the weekend against San Francisco, right? The 10 runs on Friday, the 9 runs on Saturday. But let's just look at the last 4 games, right? 5 runs in the finale against the Giants, 4 runs in the opener of this series against the Diamondbacks. That's 9 runs in 2 games. They scored 2 runs yesterday. That's 11. They scored 1 run tonight. That is 12 runs in their last 3 games, their last 4 games. That is a run per game of 3. Now, I did a little digging here right before I pushed the go live button. If they just were a 3-run per game offense, that'd be the worst offense in baseball. Cincinnati has that offense right now at 3 runs per game. Seattle right now, 3.08 runs per game. I mean, over the last 4 games, again, the smallest of sample sizes when we're talking about 162. But you feel it when you watch. You feel like you're watching an offense that just isn't right. It's not consistent enough. Well, the numbers back it up. The numbers tell you that right now, over the last 4 games, this has looked and felt like one of the worst offenses in baseball. And we know it's not. We know Francisco Lindor is going to turn it on at some point. We know Bo Bichette is going to turn it on at some point. We know Jorge Polanco is going to come back. We know Juan Soto is going to come back, and that's playing a big role in this. They don't have their biggest offensive weapon in Juan Soto. But over the last 4 games, you have been watching one of the worst offenses in baseball, specifically over the last 2 days. And it's just been a really, really tough watch. And the thing that is just in this game, right? Something the Diamondbacks did in this game that the Mets haven't done over the last couple of days was that 4-run 7th and that 3-run 8th, where they just put an inning together. Just one hit after another. We draw a walk. We get a sacrifice. We put the ball in play. We move runners over. I mean, just manufacturing a big inning. Mets don't do that. The Mets had 6 hits in this game. Roberts homer in the first, the only hit of that inning. In the second, it's a 2-out infield single by Brett Beatty. They don't do anything with that. In the third, Bichette singles. Robert Jr. draws a walk. They don't do anything with first and second. In the fourth, a leadoff single by Marcus Semien. Nothing. In the fifth, Tyrone Taylor hits a double. Bichette, 1-out walk. You got first and third, 1 out. Robert strikes out. Vientos grounds out. You don't add on there. You don't build that buffer. You don't build that wiggle room. In the sixth, they go down 1-2-3. In the seventh, it's already 4-1 at that point. Lindor hits a single. They do nothing with that 2-out rally. So there's just not this stringing together of hits or putting together a rally or at least some type of grade A run scoring opportunity. And so we're just waiting for the offense. And tonight, when you have an offense that's struggling the way this offense overall is struggling to start the year. I mean, in general, right now to start the year, I mean, they're 10th in runs per game, but I think that's really lopsided because of just some big crooked numbers they've put up in a couple of games. And on a night where your offense continues to struggle, your bullpen, one of your trusted arms, had his first meltdown of the year, and your defense betrayed you. That's it. And that's what led to a 7-1 loss tonight for the New York Mets. They are back at it. And they are now in the middle of a 2-game losing streak. They'll look to snap that streak tomorrow as they will welcome in some old friends, one of which they'll see in this series, one of which they won't. It'll be old friends Jeff McNeil and Luis Severino who are in as the A's are in town for a 3-game series starting tomorrow. The A's playing across town the last couple of days against the Yankees. Won today, 1-0. And so they'll be in town, and it'll be Clay Holmes against JT Ginn tomorrow in the opener. But right now, the state of affairs for the New York Mets, we are just waiting for the offense. You feel pretty good, maybe outside of David Peterson right now, that when the Mets go out there, you're going to get decent enough starting pitching. Outside of tonight, you feel really good about what the bullpen has given you so far this season. The offense, still kind of waiting. And so that is the big question hovering around this team. Either way, we will be here to break down the opener of that series tomorrow against the Athletics. In the meantime, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so that you are notified when we go live after the Mets get done tomorrow. You can join us here. It's been a little therapy session the last couple of nights, not a celebratory mood here on the postcast. Instead, it's kind of been a venting session, but we're here, good, bad, or ugly, to break down all things New York Mets. A tough one. Everything went wrong tonight for the New York Mets outside of Nolan McLean. It led to their second straight loss. It led to a series loss to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hopefully, short-term memory, they can wipe it and get back at it tomorrow against the A's. Until then, have a good one, Mets fans.